So, hello and welcome back to the Unforced Error. We are here on day four of Roland Garros. So, we're all the way through the first round and we are halfway through the second round now, nearly already. I think the last game is just finishing up this evening. I would have liked to have had an episode after the first round. I didn't. I'm late, so I apologise. It's all Gail Monfils' fault, and we'll come to him in a few minutes. But I was up late watching his amazing match last night, so that's pretty much why I'm late on the reporting. So first round has been amazing as it always is. You know, lots of talking points, lots of shocks on the court, lots going on outside the court. Unfortunately, in some cases, a lot of the top seeds are knocked out. So like the top few in both the men's and the women's are there, but seeds from say 5 to 20, a lot of them have been knocked out for considering we're only into the second round. Yeah, so there's main teams really of the first. You know, a lot of top seeds out. There's been some off the court drama. I'll touch briefly on it, but as I said before, I don't feel qualified to or want to get into too much politics or anything like that. I want to talk tennis mainly, but you know, tennis doesn't happen in a vacuum either, and that's been evident over the past few days, especially. But we'll focus on the tennis at least. And the night session, Gael Monfils' game in particular, has probably been the standout. It's probably one of the best games you'll see in any round, really, in a Grand Slam, not only just the first round. So on Sunday, to get things kicked off, the number two seed Sabalenka beat Ukrainians Kostyuk in two sets. The first of which is highly competitive. Kostyuk really took it to Sabalenka, and Sabalenka had to really bring out some of her bigger weapons early on. But she got into it once she found the lines, and she coasted through to an impressive victory. Now she was playing again today, and I'll touch on that when we cover today's. And she was less impressive today. But often players a bit like Pegula, you know, often just play what's in front of them, and the first rounds are tricky. You know, as Sabalenka talked about in her press conference, you know, you're coming into a Grand Slam, you don't know how the crowd are going to react. You're on centre court, you're opening up. There's a lot of emotions going on. She's a Belarusian player playing a Ukrainian player. She didn't know how the crowd was going to react. There was no handshake at the end. Kostyuk makes a point not to shake hands with any Russian or Belarusian players. So there's lots of questions asked in the press conferences after that. You know, and it's a difficult situation to be in for all Ukrainian players. But as I said, I don't really want to touch on that too much. It was just a tennis. It was a highly qualified, highly high quality game, and Kostyuk played very well, and we'll see more of her as she goes on. She's only 20 years old and has a great game, and as I said in the first set, really took it to Sabalenka. Mukova beat Sakari. I said this would be a very tight game, and a lot of these players, you know, either get knocked out in the first round or make it to a quarter final. You know, that's the way Grand Slams go, and sometimes. And Sakari didn't play poor, but Mukova is a highly skilled player, and just outplayed her in the more important points. It was the first set. Often when the first set it goes long, you know, it's really key who wins it, because in terms of momentum, and sometimes in the women's game, because it's best of three, you know, almost you're halfway through the second set and it can be more difficult to kind of break the momentum and come back, which is an argument for another day about maybe having five sets in the women's as well, but that's been talked about before. But that's an argument for another day. But a great game, again, high quality for a first round. And as I said, I've talked plenty about Zachary before. She will be back. She'll keep fighting, and always fights to the end. But very impressive for Mukova. Other news stories on Sunday: Camilla Giorgi beat Elise Cornet. Pegula beat Collins in quite a disappointing game. You know, I'd pick this game up. You know, I think one of probably some of the top players in America, and I thought it would be more tighter than it was. Danielle Collins looked a bit flat. She wasn't her usual self, kind of outgoing, kind of getting the crowd going and shouting. But she's up against a great player, and Pegula was very professional and did what she needed to do. But I suppose high quality players there, and it's hard to criticize Danielle Collins as well when she's up against such a high-seeded player in Jessica Pegula, who looks strong and who looks like she could go far in this tournament. On the men's side then, Kachanov won in 5 sets. Tsitsipas beat Vesely, and Corda and Hurkacz got the job done as well. Kachanov it was 2 sets down, but it's like anything in 5 sets, it's sometimes the seeded players are playing lower ranked players, and it's a lot of players can kind of match them for a while, but it's about how you can kind of keep it going. Not many players can keep the intensity going for a longer part, so that's the kind of key going forward. Sometimes you think the gap between the top and the bottom has kind of grown and or has gotten shorter, and I don't know, it's very hard to say. Probably a lot of players can play 1 set very competitively, but not as many can play 5 or 3 in the women's or whatever. So that's probably what separates the top from the very, very good, because everyone at this stage is very good. On Monday, the French one of the French favourites on the women's side, Caroline Garcia, beat Wang in 3 sets. Unfortunately, Garcia lost today, but it was great to see Garcia. She was on a big stage on her home slam. There's a different kind of pressure on your home slam, but I always think it's great for the tournament when the French players do well. But it was great to see her. She really enjoyed that first round. She really enjoyed the win. It was hard fought. It was 3 sets, but it was great to see her so delighted at the end. Svitolina was again in fine form against Trevisan. Madison Keys won and Maya Hadid won. On the men's side, not too many surprises. Cameron Norrie won, and Novak and Alcaraz pretty much breezed through relatively. Novak didn't look invincible, but he never really does, and you don't have to. It's 7 games over 2 weeks. Not every one of them is going to look pretty or be flawless. I think he won again just here this evening now as well, so he's getting the job done. He always kind of works his way into tournaments, the greats always do, and as I said, it's about winning 7 games, not one in kind of nice fashion. Tuesday then, yesterday, there was a lot of shocks and a lot of great games. Again, it's hard to believe we're still talking about the first round here. Ons Jabeur played amazing, played a lovely backhanded kind of drop shot as the way she spun around. It's in probably the shots of the day on YouTube or whatever, but it was amazing. It just shows her creativity is amazing. It's great to see her in good form, and she looks she will be a threat as the tournament goes on once she finds more form. But her clay court game is very special to watch. Coco Gauff got the job done, Rybakina got the job done, and Iga got the job done. She was tough in the first set, as I was saying before. A lot of players can keep up with the greats for 1 set, but it's keeping that intensity up for the longer games that's difficult. So it wasn't all her own way. Parry beat Karolina, Ukrainian. Karolina, as I said, reached the final in the tournament before this in Rome, and I was disappointed for her. I thought she's played a lot of great tennis recently. I just want to give a big shout out to her, someone who's in the top 30 seeded. Probably a lot of people don't know a lot about her, doesn't even have a branded clothing deal, and I just was so impressed with her in Rome. And as I said, a lot going on for a lot of people from everywhere, but especially the Ukrainian players. And I just thought I was disappointed to see her go, because she's played so great recently and was expecting her to go far. The game of the day for me, well, on the women's side anyway, was Andreescu, who beat Azarenka. I thought this was going to be a feisty matchup, and it was a really, really good game. 3 sets. Andreescu really brought out some of her best tennis, but some of the tennis she would have had back in 2019 when she won the major, and all of that was disrupted, of course, from injuries, and then COVID happened, so it has taken a while to get back on form. But she played some amazing tennis. So did Azarenka. A really high quality game. So hard to believe it was in round 1. And really had to get over the line. Azarenka never beats herself. You always have to beat her. So great to see such high quality game in the first round. It was a real treat. On the men's side then, the shock of the day, Krejcikova last week. She was the French Open winner in 2021, I think, and was always strong on clay. Probably hasn't had the best performances recently. But back in February, March, you would have been favouring her nearly to win this, the form she was in and how good she is in clay. But these things happen. This is a Grand Slam. shocks happen. Every game is difficult. You know, it is what you say when you see someone who loses in a French in a first round. You kind of get shocked. Everyone at this stage who's qualified for the French Open is an amazing tennis player. So it's easy to kind of get swept up as well. So on the men's side, Rude won, Rune won, Zverev won. Wild beat Medvedev, a Brazilian player who was a big shock. Again, Medvedev won in Rome just before this. The clay court has really improved his clay court game, but was just beaten by a great player on form and who had a great day. As these things happen, Medvedev found it himself. He just struggled on the day, and it was the Brazilian player Wild played really, really well. And again, another shock, another top seed out. So it's interesting. Medvedev has had an impact on this tournament because his win in Rome meant Alcaraz and Djokovic are on the same side of the draw. So they're going to meet, if they win all their games, before the final now. And that's thanks to Medvedev. So he's had a big impact, whether he likes it or not, on the top seeds as well. But he would have liked to have gone further, obviously. But that was definitely a big shock. The game of the day, the game of the day was a night session was the Frenchman Gael Monfils against Sebastian Baez from Argentina. A 5-setter in which Gael Monfils won in fantastic fashion. He went 2 sets up, but then looked down and out. He was cramping up. He got the crowd going as he always did. Kind of was flat in the third and fourth set, but found something with the help of the crowd in the fifth set. And it was amazing to see it. As I said, it's always great when the French players play well because of the atmosphere. And the Marseillaise broke out through the game as well to try and uplift Monfils, and it certainly did. And he joined in with the anthem as well. So that's very special. And these things, there's a magic in the air. It was late last night, as I said. And it just shows why this game is so amazing. You think a player's down and out. He was on his knees. He could barely walk with cramp. The crowd sings the French anthem, and he finds points from I don't know where to get over the line. Now he's playing Rune tomorrow in the night session. Now how he recovers for that after this, I'm not sure. But it's magic. He's near the end of his career. He's 36 or 37 now. And but that match will live long in the memory. And as I said, only a first round. We have a week and a half of this stuff to go. It's incredible, but to be moved, the French public singing the anthem on cue late at night to G, one of their players on, it was just very special, and as a reminder of why this sport is so amazing and can be so emotional at times. Sebastian Baez played really, really well, and it's always tough for players in these situations. There's obviously nothing he can do. He conducted himself so well, and he's the enemy of the crowd, obviously, because he's not French and there's nothing he can do, but acquitted himself so well, played really, really well. I think the tennis gods were with Monfils last night. And I always think of Anna Tomljanovic, who played Serena in the US Open, in her last US Open last September. It's such a difficult situation for that opponent to be in and to conduct themselves in a manner when everyone is against you. I always think takes great courage, and it shows a lot of character how you conduct yourself in those moments. So Sebastian Baez is very impressive. 22-year-old, has a great game. We're going to see lots more of him, and just want to credit him with all the plaudits to Monfils, and he was magic. Just want to give a big shout out to Sebastian Baez. You always got a feel for the loser in this situation. So that brings us on to today. Pegula beat Camila Giorgi. Camila Giorgi unfortunately had to retire due to injury in the second set, so Pegula's running through. Kasatkina beat Vondrousova in a very, again, just a second round, and it's an amazing game. Sabalenka won again today. I said not at her best today, especially in the first set. But again, found a way, and you can only play what's in front of you. Stevanovic played a great game, but Sabalenka just had too much power as well. And then Djokovic, I'm pretty sure, has won by the time I finished talking. Alcaraz has won earlier today, so no real surprises today, I would say. So we got Iga and Rybakina back in the court tomorrow. for their second rounds. And as I said, Monfils and Rune is probably the pick of the men's games tomorrow, which will be a late night one as well. So that's pretty much it. Sorry for the rambling. There's a lot to get through, but they're the main points. As I said, there's a lot of the articles in the media that are probably popping up are probably non-tennis related, and look, they're all important issues that have been brought up. But as I said, I don't feel qualified to speak about those issues, so I'm going to stick to the tennis, which has been absolutely amazing. And there's nothing like a Grand Slam. And so I will be back probably Friday or Saturday with a recap, and lots to look forward to, lots already done. And we'll see you then. Thanks for listening.